Okay, this man here, I'm telling you what, when you hear his records on the radio, you know the voice.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Yes!
He is one of those that helped establish the honky-tonk sound. Well, I guess continue the honky-tonk sound because it was really established by somebody in your family, and you can probably talk a little bit about that, but he's had quite a solo career of his own, and I'm not gonna belabor so much because y'all are here to hear them, and I'm gonna let David Frizzell kind of talk his talk about his music and his associations with his brother and other female performers that you may have heard about.
I've sang with them all. Oh my goodness gracious! Yeah, I started out with Brother. How many people remember my big brother left? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I started out with him. I was on 12 or 13, I think, and he'd take me with him. He'd stop by and pick me up, take me with him. He'd let me get on the stage, do two or three songs. And about every year, about every 6 months, so he'd take me into a recording studio, and I never did really figure out why. I just go with him, you know. And finally, I learned the reason is that he wanted to see if I was ever going to sing, you know, or at least well enough to help me do anything with it. And actually, in 1959, I think it was, I was working with him, and he had to go to Nashville. We lived out in the L.A. area in California, and so he had to come back to Nashville to record. Don Law of Columbia Records was his producer, and so we headed out, and I was doing most of the driving, and we had to stop in Hobbs, New Mexico, and there's a place there called the El Maurice Club. And we drove up there, and the guy that owns the place ran out and said, "Lefty, welcome to the El Maurice Club. Glad you're here and everything." And Lefty said, "Well, yeah, and then this is my brother David. And you know, he'll sing it." They go, "Oh, thank you guys so much for coming out." And he said, I said, well, Lefty said, how you going to work?" He said, "Well," he said, "there's some girls going to go on and everything first, and then well, wait a minute. There's some girls going to go home first." Well, I didn't realize they were striptease artists. And Lefty said, "Oh," he said, I don't follow strippers, but David does." I said, "I'll do it." And that evening was there for 3 nights. It was pretty amazing. And so it was Friday, Saturday, and I think it was Sunday or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, something like that. And it was back in February, I think, of 1960 is what it was. Anyway, the next morning, after we did the first night, the next morning, we found out that Buddy Holly just passed. So that gives you kind of an idea when it was. And Buddy Holly was one of my big heroes. It still is, actually. And so anyway, we found out that Buddy had passed away, so it kind of nailed me down right there. And so anyway, we did the next few days, and then we headed to Nashville. And Lefty told me, he said, "I got a feeling something good's going to happen. I don't know to which one of us, or maybe both, or whatever." He said, "But I just got a feeling that something in Nashville's going to be good." I said, "Well, then let's go." So we went on into Nashville. We met Don Law just as you come into Nashville. There's a little market, little gas station thing on the outside of Nashville, and we stopped there, and Lefty called Don. Don said, "Don't move, stay right there, and I'm gonna meet you right there. Don't be." He wanted to get this tape of a song to Lefty, and so he came out there and met us at this little store, and Lefty had this little recording machine that he took around with him everywhere, just everywhere. And so I grabbed that, and we went into the store, and hooked up to electricity in there, and Don put this tape, a little tape, about that big around, and it was a song that Mary John Wilson had written called "The Long Black Veil." Does anybody remember that song? Yes. "The Long Black Veil." And so we was listening to it in that store, and Lefty looked at me after we heard it a couple times. He said, "What do you think?" He said, whispered to me like that. I said, "That's a sad song, man. That's a sad song." And so the next we were headed out, and we went on into town and everything. About a week later, Lefty goes in and records this song. But before we do that, we're at these people's house, and Lefty got a call from one of the publishers in town. He represented the Gene Archery Enterprises and had I can't remember the name. Western Melodies, I think, was the name of the publisher. Anyway, Lefty had some songs and he wanted to publish them, and so he came out to the house that we were staying at, and Lefty said, and I was in the other room. He said, "David, come in here and sing those songs of mine to the guy here." So I went in there and grabbed Lefty's guitar and I sang these 3 songs, and met the guy that was there, and then the guy took off, and he publishing the songs, and so about an hour later, Lefty got a call from the same guy. He said, "Don Law wants you and your brother David come on downtown." He said he wants to get with you for a few minutes. So we got down. So sure. So we went downtown, and I met Don Law for the second time then, and when he came over to shake my hand, he said, "David, I just want to welcome you to Columbia Records." He said that the guy, I can't remember his name right now. I wish I'd have remembered his name. But he's the one that came in and told Don Law, "You better sign this David Frizzell because he's singing really good." So that's when I got on Columbia Records in 1960. And so then we went in and Lefty recorded Long Black Veil. And it's just actually not too long ago, but I think it was this last year, it was voted to the, what is the name of that, Joe? Library of the Congress.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
And a lot of people recorded the Long Black Veil. Even the Rolling Stones recorded it. Johnny Cash recorded. Just a lot of people recorded. But Lefty's version went into the Library of Congress.
Wow.
And then I got on Columbia Records. So a couple of good things did happen on that trip. And so kind of give you an idea where I came from. But it's mostly I had a lot of heroes in my life too, and Lefty was one of the biggest there. Merle Haggard, I don't know if you remember Merle.
Tell them the story about you asking Merle to write you a song.
Well,
one of your favorite songs of his.
Oh goodness gracious! Well, I was looking for a hit song. I knew in this business because I, raised up and run around with Lefty all that time, and I knew that you had to have a hit song before you'll never get anywhere in this business. And so I had called Lefty and told him I was in Bakersfield, California, and he was here in Nashville. And I think it was about, I can't remember what year it was. Oh, 73, I think it was. And so I called my brother Lefty, and he said, "What's going on, David?" He said, I said, "Sonny," I called him Sonny. I said, "Sonny, I got to have a hit song. And I know you've written a bunch of them, you recorded a bunch of them, but you never gave one to me. And I need a hit song." He said, "Well, where you at?" I said, "Well, I'm in Bakersfield." He said, "What are you doing there?" I said, "Well, I'm working with Buck Owens." He said, "Buck? Well, Buck ain't going to do nothing for you." Buck's still trying to do something for Buck. And he said, "David," he said, "you're in the wrong spot. You need to come on into Nashville." He said, "Somebody's writing a hit song here right now. Somebody in this town, there's other hit songs going on all over the place." He said, "Come into town, I'll help you get one." So I flew into Nashville, and I got over there and Lefty he set me down. He said, "David," he said, "I got a new album. Listen to this album, and I'll be right back. I'm going to go take a shower." So he went in the other room to get ready to do something, and I listened to his brand new album, and it was just incredible. And there was a couple of great songs on there that I remember, and one is "I Never Go Around Mirrors." It's just incredible. If you haven't heard that, that's worth listening to. And "That's the Way Love Goes."
Charlie was on it. Were you on it?
You should have been on there. Well, all of those songs that are on that album were just incredible. Lefty came by, my guy, he said, "You find anything you want to record?" I said, "I love the whole album, I tell you what." But I said, "I want "That's the Way Love Goes." That's the one I want. And he said, well, David, I can't give you that one. He said, Johnny Rodriguez just cut it. And I said, I can't help it if you did. I got to have a hit song, and that is a hit song. I just know it is. And he said, I said, I'm going to record it anyway. So I called Buck Owens, and I said, I'm coming back. I'll be back in Victorville and set everything up, if you will. Set everything up, because I've got a hit song here, and I'm bringing it with me. By the time I got back to Nashville, got back to Bakersfield, Johnny Rodriguez was number one around the country with that song. And you know what? 10 years later, like my wife Joanne, say hello to my wife Joanne. She's one that remembers all the stuff that happened to her. Anyway, so that's John Rodriguez recorded the song, and that was about 73, somewhere in there. And 83, 10 years to the day, the song went number one for Merle Haggard, and actually won him a Grammy. That's the way love goes. You remember the song? Isn't that a great, just one of the great songs. But anyway, I never really got a chance to record it, because by the time I was messing around doing anything, so too many people had already recorded. Connie Smith recorded the song. It was one of the great songs. But anyway, I've been running around with Lefty for a long time, and some of my heroes were Johnny Cash is still one of my heroes. He just is. And Marty Robbins, people I toured with for years. And then I ran into a young lady by the name of Shelley West. But I was looking for a hit song. I left and I didn't get a chance to do that because Johnny Rodriguez beat me to it. And but I was looking for a hit song, and I ran across this one song called "You're the Reason God Made Oklahoma." Yep. And I had that song. Then I met Shelley. My brother Alan. Have you heard my brother Alan Frizzell? I know you have. Brother Alan, just so talented, young guy, just amazing. And but he was fronting Dottie West's show, and Shelley was singing harmony in the show. So finally, him and her got together and left. Left Nashville, went out to Bakersfield where I was at. Anyway, so we got a chance to. We got in there and we found a fellow named Sonny Knight. And is that right? Snuff Garrett, that's who it was. Snuff Garrett. And he liked Frizzell and West, and I called him up. I don't know how I got his phone number, but I called him up. I was working out in Bakersfield, and I called him up, and I sent him a couple of songs. And there was a couple of songs with me and Shelley singing that I recorded at Buck Owens' studio. And I sent it to him, and he called me back. About 3 days later, he called me back. He said, David, he said, you didn't send me any pictures. He said, I got the songs, and if you'll send me a picture, he said, if you look anything like you sound, I'm going to make you and Shelley the Sonny and Cher of country music. And you know what? He did just that. He did just that. But with the help of a fellow named Clint Eastwood, I heard you mention his name, Clint Eastwood, a minute ago. And but Clint Eastwood and Snuff was coming back from Palm Springs. They went to an art show of some kind when they was coming back. And Snuff said, I had Clint Eastwood in the car with me. He said, I knew he wasn't going to jump because I was going 70. He said, I knew he wasn't going to jump. So he said, I played him the Oklahoma song. And he said, after the song played, Clint looked at me and he said, man, that's a pistol. He said, let's put that in my next movie. And they put that in a movie called Any Which Way You Can. Not only did they put this song in the movie, they put it in there twice. It was in two parts of that movie. And that song from before it was released, then the record label got in touch with us and actually put it out. But it was going number one before they even did that. And by April, I think it was April of 81, the song went number one. And what is so incredible about that is that it was also nominated for a Grammy. And me and Shelley ended up going into L.A. from out here and went into L.A. for the Grammys. And the Oak Ridge Boys was on there for Elvira. Oak Ridge Boys on there for Elvira, for Selma West. And there was another one, what was it? Barbara Mandrell had a song in was nominated for Grammy. The Oak Ridge Boys beat us all out.
I'm going to mention something real quick because I've always been an advocate for playing all the big hit records. And your duet with Shelley West, Keeping Up the Family Names, and Lost My Baby Blues, and one of my favorite honky-tonk songs, of course, Texas State of Mind, I'm telling you. And of course, Hire a Wino is your big one.
Yes.
On that. My wife and I came back in November to pre-plan for this trip, and we had a unique opportunity to go to the Troubadour, and they were doing a karaoke night, and it's our first chance to stand on the very stage that I saw you perform on at the Midnight Jamboree just the year before. What song can we sing? What song can we sing? And the song we debuted and said that we sung on the same stage as the Midnight Jamboree was You're the Reason God Made Oklahoma. Well, you clap now, but you didn't hear me sing. Everybody comes up afterwards and says, your wife has a beautiful voice. And I'm like, okay, and I was on it too. So.
I heard you sing those bass parts. You did well on that.
I appreciate
Oh,
it.
he's a bass